I'm not proud to admit this, but if I'm being really honest, sometimes in my life, the truth of the Bible can directly correlate to how I'm feeling in that moment. Let me explain that how I'm feeling in that moment, depending on the circumstance or the season of life, really depicts how true I feel the Bible is. For instance, there's certain verses, chapters, stories, books of the Bible that are really hard to read in certain seasons of life. For instance, Philippians chapter 4, verse 4, Paul says this. He says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice." In this one verse, Paul says rejoice twice. And this is after in chapter 3, he talks about rejoicing. In chapter 2, he talks about joy. In chapter 1, he talks about joy. And it's like, man, there's some seasons of my life I can read that and I feel it and it feels true and I want to do it and it's easy to do it. And then there's some seasons of my life where I read that and it's discouraging because I look up to God depending on what I'm going through, my family's going through, and I think, how could I possibly rejoice in this moment? And we know from a psychological standpoint that human beings encounter this thing called confirmation bias, which basically means I only choose to see things that back up my perspective, my point of view, or the things that I want to be true. So politically, whatever my political view is, I will only choose to see things and headlines and events that back up and confirm my position. We do the same thing with God, is that I could wake up in the morning and if I'm not feeling good, I will only see things that day that prove that today's a bad day and everybody's out to get me and all of this. There's no reason to rejoice. And so I think when Paul writes to rejoice twice in this one verse, he's reminding us, because of how easy it is to forget, that we always have a reason to rejoice. If you have Jesus, you always have a reason to rejoice. And so where does that lead me? It leads me to understand that how I feel in this particular moment has no bearing on how good God is. Here's the truth, is that God is good even when my life is not. And when my life is not good and I'm not feeling good, what does the Bible say? That I can still rejoice because things may not be going my way in life, but I still have Jesus. And so Paul is reminding us every day, because we're quick to forget and it's hard to do, rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. When life is really good, rejoice. When life is really hard, rejoice. Why? Because we have Jesus. And the Bible is so clear that if you have Jesus, you have everything you will ever need. So today, choose to see Jesus and choose to see gratitude.